Right behind you.
Let him do that, strange.
Vice Mayor Strange, you'll address her properly.
You can kiss my foot.
Mr. Rickard, you're out of order.
FBI, we are asking you to investigate this council. Please look into this council, how they award contracts, the bid process, how they use their positions to benefit their friends and themselves, how they use their positions to attack residents and critics and neighbors and business competition. FBI, will you please look into this?
And I welcome the FBI here. If you notice, Mr. Thompson with his plea for the FBI and his watchdog group, this city runs the cleanest in this whole county. I guarantee
He was served a federal subpoena this morning.
We did receive a subpoena this morning, and we're going to cooperate 100% with the subpoena.
And most of you who were involved up here, you gaslighted me. You tried to say I was crazy. And now we know that that's not true. And there's a lot of other issues I've been asking about as well.
There is something I've been wanting to share with you for a while, and so I thought tonight would be a good night to share it with you. It's how lying to the federal government, like the FBI, can land you in jail, in prison. And the article I'm going to share with you, it is so ironic. This is going to be a good one, fairly short one, but a good one, because the article I'm going to read to you is from the law firm that the city of Panama City Beach hired earlier this year in that fakakta internal investigation they did when Mayor Mark Sheldon and the rest of the kangaroo court, the city council, when the rest of the city council fired former city manager Tony O'Rourke after he notified them that there was corruption inside of City Hall, particularly in this case regarding stealing the boat launching area in the low water area and building Popeye Park. That was what he told them about. And so Mark Sheldon led the charge and they fired him like the next day. And now Tony O'Rourke has a massive whistleblower lawsuit against the city of Panama City Beach. But the city anticipated that lawsuit. And by the way, depositions are already underway. This is going to be great. This one's going to be a slam dunk. But anyway, so they hired an internal investigator to get to the bottom of it. They fired him. Why would you fire somebody who reported corruption and then take it seriously and hire an internal investigator to investigate yourselves? Well, it turns out the city even lied about that to us. The city really hired Holland and Knight, a big law firm out of South Florida, to represent them. They hired them as their own internal counsel and pretended, they lied to you, that there was an internal investigation. But here's the kicker. The big attorney that they brought up, he's one of the partners of Holland and Knight. And I'm going to show you who he is in a moment. He's the one who wrote this fascinating article that I'm going to share with you. First, let me show you who he is. Then I want to share with you this article that you're going to find so interesting right after this.
Have you received a speeding ticket for which you want no points placed onto your driving record? I'm El Saline, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
Okay, so they hired Holland and Knight, right, to come up after they fired Tony O'Rourke. This was Mayor Mark Sheldon earlier this year, smiling and smirking as they brought up the big attorney, Michael Hantman, partner with Holland and Knight. But I want you to see the scarecrow. He reminds me of Scarecrow from The Dark Knight, from the Batman movies. You tell me if I'm wrong. So watch Mark Sheldon's little cockiness, and then you'll see Michael Hantman, who wrote the article. But here's who he is.
Item number 4 this evening for presentations is Michael Hantman with Holland and Knight to give us a presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen of the city. To give a little background as to why I'm here and what I'm doing, I am a partner in the law firm of Holland and Knight. We are one of the nation's largest law firms with about 1,200 lawyers in over 25 offices. My law practice is devoted in many instances to conducting internal investigations. Well, what is that? An internal investigation is generally when a city, a corporation, some type of organization learns of some type of conduct that concerns them, that they want to get to the bottom of. And so I get hired and my team gets hired to look into those issues and to figure out what happened and figure out if there are any remedies that should be implemented so this type of thing doesn't happen again. So in February of this year, there were...
All right, so that's Michael Hantman, right? So he would have us believe that the city hired him, so he's their client. That he would say, actually, Tony O'Rourke was right. You guys are a bunch of crooks. Now, that's not what he did. Michael Hantman knows that it's illegal to lie to the federal government, but he's clearly very comfortable lying to you and to me. All right, so he looked into everything, right? And he said that there was nothing corrupt in Panama City regarding Popeye Park. And then they threw one guy under the bus. All right. But I don't want to rehash all of that right now. What I want to do is I want to share with you this article, How Lying to the Federal Government, and this is important for everybody to know, but I think it really applies to the city of Panama City Beach. How lying to the federal government can land you in jail. All right, you ready for this? Here's Holland and Knight's website. How lying to the... Here, let me do it like this. Yeah. How lying to the U.S. government can land you in jail. So it's written by Michael Hantman. See there, his name? If you ask people why Martha Stewart went to jail, many will say insider trading. And if you ask others what crime Scooter Libby committed, most will say breaching national security by disclosing the name of a covert CIA agent. Do you know that that word was always pronounced covert? Covert was the first pronunciation until Watergate, when all the news outlets pronounced it covert. Kind of like Tony Dorsett when he won the... Is this okay if I... You got a minute? When Tony Dorsett won the Heisman Trophy in 1976, he was Tony Dorsett. Remember that? And then when he went to the NFL, he said he wanted to be Tony Dorsett. Anyway, in both instances, they would be wrong. While Stewart and Libby were investigated for those crimes, they were primarily convicted of making false statements to government agents, the same crime to which President Trump's former campaign aide, George Papadopoulos, recently pled guilty. Here's an overview of the law that the white-collar bar simply calls 1001, and more importantly, a few cautionary tales to keep in mind. The statutes. Subsection A of 18 U.S. Code 1001 prohibits a person, quote, in any manner within the jurisdiction of the executive, legislative, or judicial branch of the federal government from knowingly and willfully falsifying, concealing, or covering up by any trick, scheme, or device a material fact, making any materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent statements or representation, or making or using any false writing or document knowing the same to contain any materially false, fictitious, or fraudulent statement or entry, end quote. And 18 U.S. Code 1505 and 18 U.S. Code 1512 primarily prohibit corruptly obstructing, influencing, or impeding any official proceeding or attempts to do so. There's no question that the words of these statutes are awfully broad. Now, as I read this to you, keep in context the fact that the city attorney, Amy Whiteout Myers, gave the FBI a copy of her notes with an altered copy of the 1962 Diamond Head plat. Do you think that might fit in there? Now, 1001 violations, that's the number of the U.S. Code, are different from perjury. Anyone who has served on a jury or seen a courtroom show on TV knows that when taking the stand, witnesses swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If they break this oath, perjury charges follow. This isn't a big surprise. An oath has little effect if breaching it is not punished. The primary difference between jury and laws like 1001, perjury comes with this pre-warning in the form of the oath to tell the truth. With 1001, there's no such pre-warning. Listen closely here. If two FBI agents approach you and immediately start asking questions in a seemingly friendly, relaxed manner, your telling the lie can lead to 1001 charges. And the lie does not need to be overt or complex. It can sometimes be falsely denying something or intentionally creating a misimpression. The fact that your discussion is not under oath and the fact that the agents haven't said any that lying to them may be a crime does not absolve you of a criminal violation. Now, I'll say this real quick. Do you notice how they've got it set up? This is called stacking the deck, right? Where the government lies to us with impunity. If we lie to them, well, it's sayonara. But let's get back to the article. The lie does not need to be made to the government. Now, this gets so interesting. Nowhere in the 1001, 1505, or 1412 statutes does it say the falsehood must be told directly to a government agent. If you lie to a lawyer conducting an internal investigation, remember that guy conducted an internal investigation. Did anybody in the city lie to him? And that's why he told us that? Or was he in on the lies? I don't know the answer. I could make a bet on one of them, but I don't know the answer to that. All right. So if you lie to a lawyer conducting an internal investigation who advises that what you say may later be shared with the government and then does so, you could have a problem in certain federal districts. For example, let's say a whistleblower claims that Medicare fraud is happening at the medical services provider where you work as a billing specialist. The company hires a lawyer to conduct an internal investigation, and as a result, you sit for an interview. You can tell the questions are targeting the company's billing manager, your supervisor, and a good friend. Wanting to protect your friend and not be a snitch, you deny that he told you he was under enormous pressure to meet revenue targets, and as a result, he artificially inflated the bills sent to Medicare reimbursement. Some of your dialogue with the billing manager was by text message on company-issued cell phones, and the lawyer accesses the texts where the fraud was discussed. The company directs the lawyer to submit all evidence to the government, including evidence showing your dishonesty, so the company can get cooperation credit. Conduct such as this has resulted in indictment and guilty pleas. Now, the city of Panama City Beach is not going to ask Michael Hantman to give his information over to the federal government. All right. But the federal government, the FBI, has already subpoenaed the entire city of Panama City Beach government, and to include every single member of the council since January of 2016. They may issue another subpoena. Who knows what they're doing? The government won't waste their time on a small fish like me. This is a classic error lots of people make. Yes, it's true that the government may not want you. They may want the CEO or the mayor or some other high-profile target. But you may be integral into building the case against that person. We're seeing this now in the Lynn Haven situation, aren't we? A bunch of little fish are in, they've already confessed. And one easy way to get you on team government is to threaten criminal prosecution if you don't wear a listening device submit to an interview, or otherwise assist in their investigation. After all, few people had heard of George Papadopoulos until recently. The unavoidable conclusion to draw from his guilty plea and the facts and circumstances surrounding it is that the government pursued Papadopoulos to induce his assistance in special counsel Bob Mueller's investigation of bigger fish. It didn't come, if I didn't commit the underlying crime, I can't be charged with making false statements, some people think. But this is incorrect. Papadopoulos and Martha Stewart and many others have not been charged with the crime for which they were being investigated. The reasons why prosecutors make charging decisions are complex and case-specific. In some instances, prosecutors decide to pursue the low-hanging fruit and indict someone for lying. In others, the defendant did not do anything wrong and lied to protect someone else. That lie set the investigation back many months. But regardless, the scope and breadth of the law can easily ensnare the unwary. Having a discussion with federal agents investigating a crime, no matter if it's at FBI headquarters or at Starbucks or in your driveway, is serious business and can have life-altering consequences. As Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg wrote, 1001, that's again citing the federal code, provides prosecutors with extraordinary authority and may apply encounters between agents and their targets under extremely informal circumstances. This is something a lot of people don't know. So when we hear of the massive dragnet looking into public corruption in Panama City Beach and throughout Bay County, Lynn Haven, the school board, Panama City, the county commission, these types of things, there are a lot of people being talked to. And again, when two FBI agents come up and just start casually having a conversation, and normally, do you think that they ask questions that they have a clue of what the answer is, or do you think they just come asking questions because they just don't know anything? All right, I want to share this with you right now. It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan could make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at pcairrepair.com. Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. So I wanted to share this with you. I came across this article several months ago, and it's been gnawing at me as everything is going on. Because again, so many people think that Martha Stewart went to prison for insider trading. She didn't. She went to prison because she lied to the federal government. And there are a lot of questions being asked of a lot of people throughout Bay County and other counties. I believe that this investigation is going to end up being, I think it's going to end up being the biggest public corruption sting or investigation in the history of these United States by the time it's over. I think it will involve more counties. I think it will be intra-county. I even think it might be intrastate by the time it's all said and done. Does the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office move slow or fast? Man, do they move slow. But they also have a 98% conviction rate. And there are a lot of reasons for that. All right, I just wanted to get with you quickly tonight and share that with you. I thought it was worth you knowing. And you can find that article at the Holland and Knight website. Holland and Knight, again, is the attorney that the city hired to do its internal investigation. But what they really did was they hired them as a buffer. But I still can't figure out quite why Michael Hantman, who wrote that article, did all of that. There were so many people he didn't interview. He didn't interview Amy Myers. He didn't interview the people who were involved. How could you not interview Amy Myers when she gave the FBI her legal notes with an altered copy of the 1962 plat, when that's the very subject you were investigating? Is Michael Hantman incompetent? No. Is he on the take? I know he likes that money. Did he know they were lying? Is there something bigger going on? I don't know. But I just thought I'd throw these questions at you tonight. All right, I'm going to break away. Thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you soon.